Because I am intentionally not buying any books at the moment because I am on a bit of a ban, I thought I would show you guys what I have checked out from the library, because I find that going to the library kind of stops my spending or binge spending, I guess you could call it. I don't buy as many books if I am going to the library often because I can pick up a lot of books from there. It doesn't mean that I'm going to read all of these library books, but it's really good to have the option, and my library system and the one in the county next to mine are very, very good for all sorts of books, so popular ones, new releases, so I'm really lucky to live where I do. They don't have absolutely everything, but they do have quite a bit, and so I always come out with tons and tons of books. I think my current limit in each library is 20 books, so I can get out 40 books at a time, and I have done that before for various projects. It's probably not a good idea. It shows that I am interested and invested in my local libraries, so I'm quite happy to do that to help support them. So I thought I would show you a library book haul, what I've currently got checked out from the library. I probably won't end up reading all of these books, but if you want me to read any and would be interested in my thoughts, let me know. If you have loved any of these, of course, let me know as well. Maybe vote on which ones you'd like me to read. That would be really interesting. I do have quite a lot here, so I should probably get into them. These aren't going to be in any particular order at all, so let's just get going. First of all, I have The Drift by C.J. Tudor. I've not loved books by C.J. Tudor before, which is why I picked this one up from the library. It's very good to test out authors that you're unsure about. It says here that this is about an overturned coach full of students, all of them are trapped, a stranded cable car full of strangers, one of them is dead, an isolated chalet full of friends, soon there'll be enemies. There's a snowstorm, a killer lurking, and no rescue. This one sounds really, really good, like a survival horror thriller sort of thing, so that's why I've got that one out. I've also picked up What Have We Done by Alex Finlay. I have enjoyed his books before, but I don't own any of them, so I didn't feel the need to go ahead and purchase this one. This is his newest release. I think he's got another one coming out later on this year, maybe in a couple of months' time, so I want to try and read this before then. It says here that 25 years ago, 3 kids forged a bond through the abuse they endured as residents of Saviour House. When the home was shut down after the disappearance of several children, the 3 were split up. They haven't seen each other since, until now, when they were reunited for a single inescapable reason: someone is trying to kill them. This sounds great. I've also got a romance book called For Her Consideration. This is a Hollywood kind of romance about an actor and a screenwriter. I'm hoping to read this one in February, so I'm very excited for it. Speaking of romance, I also have The Dead Romantics. This is Ashley Poston's debut, or adult debut, and this is about a writer who falls in love with a ghost somehow. And I've also got The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, which I think is going to be like a cozy paranormal time, and I'm very much looking forward to reading this one. I've also picked up The Golden Spoon, which is a kind of mystery book about a baking show as well, so it's kind of based around the Great British Bake Off, I believe. And there are 6 contestants, and I think there's also a murder of some sort. It says, quickly things start to go wrong. The contestants are jittery and they've heard strange noises in the manor at night. Then the sabotage begins, so I think it's about them sabotaging their bakes, and I find that hilarious. And I'm also very interested to see who ends up dying. I did start reading this one because I received it from NetGalley, and I was finding it quite difficult because there are quite a few points of view, and I don't do very well with that with ebooks, so I really needed the physical copy, and I'm really glad that my library had it. I also picked up a book on a whim that I'd never heard of before, and that is Under Fortunate Stars. So from the cover it looks like this is some kind of space opera sort of book, so let's discover it together. It says 2 ships, 1 chance to save the future. Fleeing the final days of the generations long war with the alien felon, there's a smuggler, a strange rift in deep space, and little chance of rescue, and then they encounter a research vessel which claims to be from 152 years in the future, so it's some sort of like time travel portal sort of situation going on there. And again, I've not actually heard anything about this, and I think it only published in like 2022. I don't know why I said it like that. Yeah, 2022, so not really sure what's going on and why it's not getting any hype, but I'm very intrigued to read this and give it a go. Another one that I have from NetGalley and haven't finished yet is This Family. So this is a complicated story about sisters and mothers and daughters, I think. I don't know if it's sort of like a thriller or if it's more of a suspense. It says here that Mary's family are coming together for her wedding day in the home that has once been both battleground and sanctuary for them all. Something about mending broken bonds. It's told by a chorus of characters over the course of a late summer's day. This is the story of a family with 40 years worth of memories and love and loss, hope and heartbreak, grief and joy. So I'm very much interested in reading this one at some point. I also have The Heroines. This is set in ancient Athens, and there's some sort of trial happening. I don't really know much else. It says crowds are flocking to witness the most shocking trial of the ancient world. The royal family is mired by a scandal. Oh, okay, so it's about Phaedra. Okay, yeah, that's what it's about. I don't really want to go into lots of details here, but look up that story if you are interested. It says here there are 2 sides to every story, and theirs has gone unheard until now. So I think that sounds really good. I'm looking forward to reading that one a lot. I also picked up Dirty Laundry. This one, I just really liked the cover. I think. It says, secrets desire blood, it all comes out in the wash. Keep your friends close and your neighbours closer. So I think this is going to be some sort of satirical rich people drama situation. So Kiara has it all, a loving husband, well-behaved children, immaculate home. And then her reality is actually different from what it seems. Mishti is stuck in a loveless marriage, raising her daughter in a country that is too cold among children who look nothing like her. And Lauren is mostly happy, and then Kiara is found murdered. So it's going to be some sort of mystery suspense in a neighbourhood full of rich people drama, which is my favourite thing. I also picked up The School for Good Mothers. So I think this is a literary fiction. It might also be slightly dystopian as well. It says here that it's destined to be a feminist classic, and it says here that Frida's daughter is taken away by the state. It decides that Frida is not fit to care for her daughter, and so that she must be retrained. So I guess she and a bunch of other mothers have to attend a school to be trained to be the perfect mother. It says that it's explosive, provocative and moving, about love and the pressures of perfectionism, parenthood and privilege. Obviously, I'm not a parent, I don't know if that's obvious, but I'm not, unless you count the animals as children, which I kind of do. I've heard this one is really, really good, so I think this is going to be a good one to read very soon, potentially in February when I try to do 29 books in 29 days. If it's very fast paced, I think it'll be a good choice. I also picked up A Long Petal of the Sea. This is an author who I have heard really good things about, and she has released quite a few books, and this is translated from Spanish. It's historical fiction, and it's set in September 1937 when Spanish people have been exiled to Chile and when the Second World War breaks out in Europe. It says here that Victor is a young doctor and he is caught up in the Spanish Civil War. His life is forever changed. Together with his sister-in-law, he is forced out of his beloved Barcelona and into exile. So I've heard, like I said, really good things about this author, so I think this is going to be a really good book, and this will be the first one that I try from her. I do own another one on my shelf, but I think this one sounds better. So I'm going to give this one a go. I've had my eye on this one since it came out last year. I think it came out in January 2023. And I saw it in the library, so I decided that I should definitely pick it up. So I think it's set in the UK, if I am correct. It doesn't actually say, but the main character is Ghanaian, and it says that it's time for Maddie to speak up. She finally gets the chance to leave home, and she is determined to become the woman that she wants to be. Then tragedy strikes, and Maddie is forced to face the risks and rewards of putting her heart on the line. So it's going to be literary contemporary fiction, and it's definitely something that I am interested in, so I'm very glad that I found it at the library. The Great Reclamation, again, this is a historical fiction book. I found quite a lot of them at the library, actually. I'm really pleased that they have all of these. It doesn't say when it is set, but it says here that the main character is young and terrified and takes his first trip out to sea in his father's fishing boat. A mysterious, impossible island materializes in the darkness, which is bountiful with fish, and only the main character has the ability to find it. And so it's the beginning of his story, and apparently it's quite tragic. The Japanese army is invading, and it just sounds really good, really interesting. I guess it's kind of got sort of magical realism elements in it as well as being historical, so I have very high hopes for this one. I hope it's good. Hungry Ghosts, this is another historical fiction, but you can tell that I was kind of in the mood for some historical fiction. This one is set in Trinidad in the 1940s. It talks about poverty and devotion to faith, and then someone goes missing and another main character's safety is compromised, and so another main character becomes a watchman. I can't really get the names straight just by skimming that, but I think this is going to be really good. It's won some awards, I think, or it was up for some awards if I remember correctly. I can't remember which ones, maybe it was just Goodreads. But I'm looking forward to reading this because I have enjoyed books set in Trinidad in the past. I also picked up Shark Heart, a love story. This is about, well, it's set in a world where people turn into sharks, of course. It says here, for Lewis and Wren, their first year of marriage will be their last. A few weeks after their wedding, Lewis receives a rare diagnosis. He will retain most of his consciousness, but his physical body will gradually turn into a great white shark. I think this sounds really weird, and I don't always do well with weird books, which is why I've got this one from the library, but I do really like sharks, so that's why I decided to pick this one up. It sounds a little bit, not really, but a bit like Our Wives Under the Sea, and I didn't like that book, but I think that was mainly the writing style. I'm going to give this one a go and hopefully enjoy it a lot more. I also picked up 0 Days by Ruth Ware because I saw it there and wanted to give it a go. I'm not loving Ruth Ware's newest books. This one and The It Girl, I think it was called, don't sound very intriguing to me because they seem to be more like action thrillers. So I'm a bit nervous about this one, which is why I picked it up from the library. Didn't really want to buy it. I don't know what it's about because it's a thriller book, but I have seen that Ruth Ware is bringing out another book this year, and it seems to go more into the domestic suspense psychological thriller direction, which to me sounds a lot better. So I'm going to read this one because I'm a completionist, but I'm holding out for her to go back to her roots and try the more psychological stuff. And then I also picked up Trust of the Emerald Sea. I'm really pleased that my library had this because I didn't really want to buy it as a hardback and I want to give it a go, but I didn't want to invest in the Secret Project books because they were so expensive, and I'm not a huge Brandon Sanderson fan. Like, I like his books, but I'm not a super fan, so other people can have those and I will pick up his books from the library. This is about a young girl called Tress who has to travel across the sea for some reason. I don't really know why. Brandon Sanderson has included a Dear Reader note here instead of a synopsis, so who can say? And then finally, I just have some graphic novels that I'm going to blast through because I talk about all of these in my February TBR, so stay tuned for that because I think this video will go up before my February TBR does. I've got Our Little Secret, which is a graphic memoir which contains trigger warnings for childhood essay, and it's basically about the author sort of working through her feelings about that. The Tea Dragon Society, which sounds really cute. Unearth, which sounds weird. And Luna, which sounds even weirder. So that's my enormous library haul. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you've read any of these, of course, and tell me your thoughts. I'm probably going to be doing more of these in the future once I have made my way through this stack. I do actually have a couple more books on hold that I need to go and collect from the library soon once they arrive there. So yeah, expect another one of these like in a couple of months' time. And if I do end up buying any physical books, then they'll be in a separate book haul. But I can't see myself doing that anytime soon, so I'm being good and being sensible. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you all in the next video. Bye.